Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In today's video, we're going to continue on with our What's in the Box series. And in today's What's in the Box, we're going to be looking at Warlord Games' Russian Starter Army for Black Powder. This box says that it contains 96 Russian line infantry, just shy of 100, in Shakos, so like these guys. 32 plastic and metal Pavlov Grenadiers and command group. Okay, they're not shown on here, of course. Officer on a horse and full color flag sheet. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so it looks like this is probably what we're going to get. We're going to get 4 units of 24, right? And then a unit of, 32? Probably more than that if it includes command. So we'll have to take a look, and then a horse. I know it's a little hard to see with the glare. Okay, there's nothing on the back there. I was noticing on the packaging, it actually gives some Army Painter and some Vallejo colors that they would recommend to paint these. All right, and then other languages that just let you know. It doesn't look like it was a very good job on the shrink wrapping, but let's go ahead and remove the plastic, and then we'll open this up. All right, now before we go ahead and open this up, I do want to point something out. These miniatures are not for sale on the store. Currently, I mean, when I'm filming this video, these miniatures are actually going to be for a commission that I'm working on. Okay, so let's open the box. Okay, it's a little stuck. Put that off to the side. Okay. They provide the metal. Okay, that's a big bag of metal. But I love the fact that they give me metallic standards. That's what I prefer to use anyway. And this says Napoleonic Russian Starter Army Bag. Oh, and you can actually just see the damage to this Ziploc bag, but you can also see the mold release that's in there. I think I see a horse and a mounted general. We'll dump this out and take a look at it in a moment. But first things first. Okay, there are a lot of sprues. Okay, there are a lot of compact sprues. Looks like the flag sheet is all the way on the bottom. You're getting 4 guys per sprue, and it looks like you're getting a little knapsack that just glues on the back, and then that'll have their sword and bayonet, and it will have their cartridge box. These all look the same, like they just have a canteen on the back of their knapsack. Now there are 2 style of Shakos. We got 2 Shakos. Well, these 4 have tall plumes. These 4 do not. But it looks like you get 2, 2, 2, and 2 because the knot work on these 2 are similar. The cord, the braided cord, is dangling down the side on these guys. And not on these 2. They have braided cords, but it looks like they got a bag on their head as well. You know, kind of like a hussar hat. I'm going to have to double check that. they have a couple of braided cords hanging down, but the plume is not there. And then there's the bags, but the plume is not there. So maybe that has something to do with the elite companies or otherwise. I will have to do my research on that. We have some bent bayonets or rifles there. I'll do my best to get those straight for my customer. I wonder if every sprue is exactly the same. Oh, no, grabbing this one, I can see it's already different. Mainly because of the Shako. We got a couple of covered Shakos, more with no plume, obviously. More with the dangling dealy bobs. No, the braided cord hanging. But these guys have the grenadier plumes. Those are the big, huge feather duster plumes. Okay, it doesn't really say. It says 1809 Russian Napoleonic infantry. And this one says 1812 Russian Napoleonic infantry. Okay. But yeah, those are different. I'm going to flip it so that I can see the plumage on the Ashakos. So I can kind of put these guys where, together with others of the same ilk. The uniforms look the same on both. They have gaiters and like a bedroll over their shoulder. Okay, so with 32 grenadiers, that's obviously not a battalion of 24. So that's going to give me extra grenadiers. Now, I'll have to take a look at the Pavlov grenadier units, and if they're normally large units, then it would be 8 bases instead of the normal 6. So instead of 24, it would be 32. It would be 32. So it would be a large unit. Okay. That's probably what they're saying. They're probably saying it's a large unit of grenadiers and then just 4 standard units of infantry, line infantry. Starting to get a little crowded, so I want to... Like, that's 1 battalion right there. Okay, so this is what I'll do. Because 6 sprues of 4 figures is 1 standard battalion. Okay, I don't see any more of the feather duster plumes. And then all these sprues are the same. Okay, there's a 2nd battalion. There's 6 stands right there. Okay, there's 6 more stands. That's the 3rd battalion. And the cover shows 4 battalions. So, okay, so there are enough to make 6 battalions of Russian 1812. Okay, hold on. There's multiple sheets in here. And this one was packed by the ever-present Morella. Okay. So We've got a Kiev Grenadier Regiment, Little Russia Grenadier, Musketeers, Kiev Grenadier with Russian Infantry white flag, and then Angela Gorod Musketeer Regiment white flag. Narva Musketeer white flag. So these must be a two different type of 2 flags per. It says to represent musketeers, you should remove the 2 horizontal points on the ammunition pouch badge as shown on the miniatures to the right. Okay, I guess I got to get in there with an X-Acto and scratch it. Okay. And so it shows it again right there, but a close-up. Maybe this is an older 1812, 1815, but then this is the 1809 to 1814. More flags. Kiev Inspection. Asferon Musketeer Regiment. Azov Musketeer Regiment. And then a white flag right there. The 1803 pattern Russian infantry white flag. Okay, so I'll have to figure out the flags. Is this a booklet or is this just a it feels like it's a booklet. Nope, it's just super thick. Okay. Regimental Colonels Polkovic. Okay, so this is the Pavlov Grenadiers, and there's the 2 flags right there. You got the Grenadiers and the white flag, even though they look almost exactly the same. There is slight differences. And the Pavlovs had this type of head, as opposed to those heads. Okay, this box set allows you to recreate a battalion of these brave men containing 28 plastic infantry figures and 4 metal command models, with the inclusion of both Grenadier and Fusilier miter caps. The regiment can finally be fielded on the gaming table in all its glory, be that as full Grenadier, Fusilier, or a later mixed battalion. Nice. Okay, so it looks like that battalion's supposed to be large because that's what they were claiming it's supposed to be. Okay, which should be 8 stands, but this has 7 stands plus the command bag is going to get me 8 stands. That's what I'm gathering. Okay, so because this is one type of sprue and this is one type of sprue, when we do the zoom in, I'm only going to show off one of each of those sprues, just so that you can see what all the sprues look like. All right, now there is a mixed bag here of bits and parts. Let's take a look. And this bag was packed by Morgan. Oh, don't throw that away. I almost threw that away. Got to keep those. Okay, you can just feel the mold release. These definitely have to be washed. Okay, there's the miter caps. So instead of using these plumed shakos, we'll glue on these metal heads to make them Pavlovian. Pavlov. And there should be only 7 of these. Well, there are more than 7. There's 8, 9, 10. I wonder if there are other units that have mitered cap grenadiers. Yep, and then there's 7 right there. So I bet you there's supposed to be fusiliers and grenadiers and fusiliers in each regiment, as well as the musketeers. Right, so I'll have to make sure that I'm doing it right before I start, because I don't want to mess it up. All right, so we'll do a little research before we start making any assembly on that. Okay, does come with a drummer boy. It comes with a number of different types of officer heads. Okay, we got the horse and the rider. We got a number 1 standard bearer, and we have the number 2 standard bearer, and then we have the officer. So these are the 4 guys that would go in the Grenadier Company, the Pavlov Grenadiers. None of these other regiments have any command figures. Okay, this has got to be a drummer hand, because it looks like he's got a drumstick in one hand. But that could just be... Okay, this guy looks like he's carrying a miter cap in his right hand. Interesting. The 2 standards are going to have... What do they call those? They're not fanions or tassels. They're called something. Finals. Yeah, so they'll have a final on each of those. Okay. Looks like a sword and a hand up to his face saying he's yelling. There's an extra head. This all looks like loose pewter junk. Okay. See, we got one of those. We have a pom-pom on this Shako here that looks like a feather duster, right? So it would match up with those Shakos when it comes to if you're making an officer. So maybe when I put those together, maybe I do... No, I can't, because... Well, I can use these Shakos on other... Because the bodies, I believe, are exactly the same. We'll have to take a double check. But they've got bicorns and guys with no hats. The guys with no hats have them in their hands. Okay. The drummer has a lot of stitching on his uniform, so that's got a lot of stitching as well. But if I didn't want to use this arm, it looks like I could use this arm where it's just carrying his Shako. It actually looks really cool. But since he's going to be a grenadier, he's going to need a miter cap. So he could carry his miter cap in this arm. Yeah, these guys all have their arms except for the officer, which looks like he should be holding a sword. So that would definitely be that arm. Well, this guy needs a sword. Or he could take the other hand and put it up there to his mouth like he's yelling. Because his sword is still in the sheath. Okay. There's another thing of miter caps. Okay, this guy is just waving his hat. That might go great on the officer waving his cap, waving his hat. And if I do that, then I'll have to use one of these heads with no hat on. Right? Right. If I used... Oh, these guys need heads as well. But they could be miter caps. They don't have to be these guys. Okay, well, it's a lot of dust. Let's go ahead and change the focus of the camera. Let's take a close-up look at these figures and see exactly what we get. All right, we're going to start off by just looking at the horse right here. We're looking at a skinny horse. It looks like he really needs to feed his horse. Well, it's not a front rank horse, that's for sure. Okay. The rider. He's got his gorgets, buttons, sash, sword in the sheath still. Looks pretty good. I need to do a little trimming on that. Cleaning, that is. I think this would probably be the best looking arm, the one with the raised hat, for that officer. Look at that, it just busted right off automatically like it was leaping, like it wanted to be used. Yeah, this is the... That's the hat. A little bit of cleaning needs to be done on it. Okay. But I think that's the best one for him. Here are some of the other heads that were included. You can see the feather duster pom-pom right there. Heads and bicorn hats, right? And with the stitching on that sleeve and the what do you call it, the gull wings on the shoulders, looks like that guy would be a drummer arms, and looks like that drummer is holding a miter cap under his arms. An option for the foot colonel would be for the sword, because his sword is actually out of his sheath. And that is the foot colonel. You can see he's got his hand on his sheath. It's empty. He's got his epaulets. Looks good. The drummer, he has his left hand, no problem with the drumstick, but his right hand, it's very optional. So you could go with another drumstick, or you could go with him holding a helmet, or whatever. If you go with him holding a helmet, then you would need to put a helmetless head on him. But if you wanted to go with a head with a helmet on him, then you need to put the other drumstick in his hand. So basically you have options. One of the standard bearers, he's got an over-the-shoulder kind of standard bracket thing, and then his right hand is holding the standard, left hand is just free. This is the other standard bearer. He's two-fisting the pole. That way both standard bearers are unique. Okay, I suspect all of these miter helmets are exactly the same sprue. They might or might not be, but I'm only going to show one. Might be a little hard to see with the bright light and the mold release. Looks like 15 or 16. Looks like 16. Miter head sprues. That's quite a few. And 16 times 4, that's how many mitered heads you get. All right, the finals. These will go on top of the flagpoles. Basically, it's like a spear tip with golden braided cords that hang down. Very nice. And then, of course, you get these brass standards, which, whenever I get a chance, that's all I'll ever use. All right, so here is the 1809 Russian infantry. But you'll notice the uniforms are pretty much exactly the same. It's only the heads that really make a difference. Because I'll show you when we pull up the other sprue. And then there's the knapsacks, ammo, cartridge, belt, and all that. Oh, my finger. And then the different heads. You got the covered shakos, cords hanging down, and then these pom-poms, giant pom-poms. Okay. Now these over here are the 1812 Russians. Okay. Looking at the uniforms, from what I can tell, just from a casual look, they look like they're the same. I will double check to make sure that they are in fact the same. And if they are, then I will communicate with the guy that I'm doing a commission to find out exactly which shakos he wants me to use. And if he wants me to make musketeer units, fusilier units, grenadier units, or whatever. I think he's leaving it up for me to decide, but I'm gonna communicate with him before I start assembly. Because just this one sprue here, you've got 4 different types of heads. Like you got those two, those two, those two, and those two. So I also have enough of these sprues to do 4 battalions. So I could do a battalion with each type of shako. That way, they'd each be unique. They'd each have their own. All right, guys, that was the Russian starter army. It's actually very basic, right? It's 96 of the exact same models. You do get a variety of heads. You can see that these guys have no plumes, and then this unit over here on the left has the plumes. I'm going to assume that this is a different unit than that. When I'm looking at these examples, what I might also do is bring something up on the screen so that you can see. But just looking at the box, I'm seeing covered Shakos on one of the stands. Okay, actually it looks like this, and this are all just just copy and pasted. They're all exactly the same. Grass and everything. Okay, so they just took one picture and copy and pasted it. Now this guy's got a bicorn on his head and he's pointing with a map, but I don't really like that pose. Now this guy's got a bicorn. Yeah, everybody here's got that mitered head. None of these guys. Okay, hold on. Hold on now. I'm getting a better look at this because they're all the same. The guys on the end have these tall plumes, and the guys on this end have the tall plumes. This is telling me that those are the elite companies. One is probably grenadiers, one is probably skirmishers, the lights. But nobody in the middle is a command element, right? They don't have no flags, no drummers, no officers, nothing like that. So one of the recommendations that I'm going to make to my man who sent me this box is that if I was to add four or five. Oh crap! If I add 5 command stands, if I added 5, let's say parry command, if I was to get 5 of those, I could replace one stand in these 4, creating 4 stands in another battalion. And then with the 5th command stand, I can plug it in to that battalion. And parry comes with 6 figures, so there would be 8 extra figures. I could, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's too many, but I could make a 5th battalion. If we got 5 command, I could make a 5th battalion, and they would all have drummers, officers, standards, things like that. Luckily, the Russians have pretty much a standard uniform across the board. I can paint all of these and then add command later, and that would allow him to put the command stands in the battalions, being able to remove a stand and add it to a 5th battalion. Yeah, but I would recommend getting 5 headquarters packages from probably Perry or I don't know about front rank, probably Perry or Warlord's command. I think come in a pack of 4, so they're just exactly one base, and you could get 4 to fill up to fill up these headquarters. But if you did that, then you'd only have these 4 extra stands sitting on the side. But if you went with Perry and you got, actually, yeah, 5. 5 would give you 30 extra figures. It's too many, right? So if you got 4, that would give you 24 figures, but it wouldn't give you enough standards. It would only give you 4 standards. You'd still be without a standard for the other unit. Well, let me think about this too. I'm thinking out loud with you guys. If I got 4 Perry command stands, or even 3 Perry command stands, that's 18 figures. And then 2 Warlord command stands, that's another 8 figures, or 24. So 3 Perry and 2 Warlord would get you exactly 5 battalions total, without any additional figures. But I also know that this player wants a bigger army than this. This is only the beginning, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know which way we're going to go with that. So, but as I get these painted and as these guys get started as part of my project on the table, I will make videos showing you the painting progress on these as well. So thanks for coming out and watching this What's in the Box. If you're interested in picking up any Napoleonic figures, World War II, Ancients, whatever, check out my eBay address. That's where I sell my painted figures and new in the box. And if you're interested in also getting some army commissioned, you should email me at the email address so that I can let you know the best prices, as opposed to if you contact me on eBay, there's actually a slight price difference. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.